Can we bring in Charles? Is he there? Hey, Chuck, how are you?
What's up, brother?
Is the series over?
Yes, sir. It's over. It's a wrap. You know what? Listen, Miami just undermanned. When Jimmy Butler went crazy the other night, that extended it one game. I mean, he was amazing in game three. But listen, they're undermanned, and it's over.
If you could have picked a team to face the Lakers, any team in the finals, who would you pick to make it a more interesting matchup?
Well, there was two teams that would have been interesting matchup: the Clippers and the Milwaukee Bucks. Dan, it's about matchups. Listen, Miami supposed to outcoach Boston and Milwaukee. That was all about coaching. But the Clippers and the Milwaukee Bucks would have been much tougher matchups.
When you hear teams that have chemistry problems, like the Clippers suddenly had chemistry problems, did they have chemistry problems before they got to the bubble, or was it just in the bubble that they had chemistry issues?
Well, I hate when I hear that, because when they won the first round and they were up 3-1, nobody talked about chemistry. I mean, think about that, man. They won a playoff series and they were up 3-1 double digits in games 5 and 6. Nobody talked about chemistry. They just didn't play good. Paul George was awful. Lou Williams was awful. Montrezl Harrell was awful. So they just did not play well. So, no, it had nothing to do with chemistry. That's just bogus.
Who's your MVP for the NBA Finals?
Wow. Well, I think LeBron is going to win it, but AD has been amazing. Even last night, watching the game, his defensive, he made some plays in the first half that people are not going to talk about. The play on Tyler Hero, where he missed the layup, and then he blocked Kelly Olynyk. He blocked him on that play. So, listen, LeBron is probably going to win it. But listen, let's be realistic. The reason they're going to win the finals is because of AD. But Dan, we said that 6 months ago. We said if AD plays like he's capable, the Lakers are going to win the championship. And I'm never going to say anything bad about LeBron, because I got respect and admiration for him. He's an amazing player, and he's probably even a better man. But they're going to win because of AD.
Is LeBron picking his spots? It just feels like this is the first time I've ever seen him pace himself a little more. Am I reading into too much here, or are you seeing this that maybe LeBron is, at times mortal in the NBA?
No, I don't know mortal's the right word, but listen, when you have Anthony they have Jimmy, Iguodala, Jay Crowder, who are terrific defenders. But AD has an advantage every single night. He reminds me of Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Durant. Those guys, who do you put on AD? You can't put a big guy on him. You can't put a little guy on him. That's the same way I felt about Dirk Nowitzki and Kevin Durant. Who do you put on Kevin Durant? You put a little guy on him, he's too big. You put a big guy on him, they're too slow. And that's what you get when you get Anthony Davis. I don't know who you can put on Anthony Davis. There's nobody you can put on him where he doesn't have an advantage. So LeBron has deferred to him quite a bit, rightfully so, and that's why they're going to win the championship.
And you don't have home court. When people say, well, is this really a championship and an asterisk? I think it's been tougher to win a championship this year than it would be if this was just a regular season.
I don't know about that, but I will say I thought that could be an asterisk. We had if all the great players got the COVID and we had the Sacramento Kings against the New York Knicks for the championship, I thought
I'll give you an asterisk then. I'll give you an asterisk there.
But you know what? Listen, I'm so glad you asked me that question, Dan, because man, I got to take my hat off to Adam Silver, and first and foremost, but also the medical staff and the players. Listen, I was very cynical when this thing first started. I'm like, there's no way they can go 3 months.
Yeah.
There's no way they can go 3 months and not have an outbreak. They did it, Dan. Same thing. Hey, shout out to my boy John Cooper, head coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's been my boy for a long time. They won the Stanley Cup. I thought it was no way possible for these teams to go 3 months basically without the COVID. So Gary Bettman and hockey and Adam Silver. But like I say, I give the players a lot of credit too. Because for us to go, I saw one night, we had a guy on the show last night, he'd been 100 days in the bubble. To go 3 months without any positive test is one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen.
Could you have pulled that off if you were a player?
I mean, I think it depends on how good. Yeah, I mean, I think all the players had to, but I think it depends on how good your team is. Like the good team, you notice anything that really happened. The only people who were complaining were guys on bad teams who were going to be away for a couple months. But man, these players and Adam Silver, the doctors, all the people working at the hotels down there. Same thing. Shout out to the Seattle Storm or the WNBA. I mean, to go 3 months think about it. The president of the United States has COVID. And like, he's probably, he's probably in the safest place. He's not, but for these players and women in the WNBA and the NHL to go 3 months without an outbreak, it's one of the most amazing things ever, plain and simple.
Did you have a false positive?
No, I was negative.
Okay.
Yeah, I was negative. But, hey, man, I want to give my thoughts out there to everybody who had the disease. And listen, and also I want to bless them. If you lost somebody, bless you. But, man, I just want to think about all the people out there who lost their jobs during this pandemic. Dan, this has been like the craziest thing in our lifetime. And there's so many people who lost their job and never going to get it back. So I feel bad for those people because, like, we're in a crazy time right now. I mean, and we don't even know. I mean, I've been talking to AT&T. We don't even know when NBA going to start again. It's crazy right now, our world we're living in.
Yeah, we're probably looking at the end of January or February. But, training camp would be starting now in a normal year. We're talking to Charles Barkley, the Hall of Famer. Doc Rivers to Philly. What do you think?
Well, it's going to depend on Joel and Ben. Those guys got to get their crap together. I like both of them as people, but it's time for them to grow up and be all. Listen, right now they're all stars. It's time for them to be superstars. Ben's. Listen, we got to make sure Joel's got to get in shape. Dan, when we give you $167 million, we shouldn't be worried about your conditioning.
Would you trade one of those two?
I would not right now, but we still shouldn't be wondering if a guy can shoot or a guy's going to get in shape. If I just gave him $170 million the last 2 years, it's time for them to grow up and be better than all-stars because they got so much talent. And they're really nice kids, both of them. But it's time for them to grow up. They just got their coach fired. Now they got another coach. And listen, if I was those two guys, Dan, I got one coach fired. And I was embarrassed. I mean, we had a bad team, but as a great player, I was embarrassed because I was like, man, I just got a guy fired. I got the assistants fired. I was embarrassed. And I hope those two guys like, man, I just got a guy fired. That's embarrassing. And I hope they grow up. And it's time for them. They're in the prime of their career. It's time for them to grow up and be dominant.
Does another title change where LeBron is all time?
Well, it moved him closer to Kobe. Listen, I'm never going to say anything bad about LeBron. I think winning another title moved him closer to Kobe. But he's amazing. Nothing but respect. But I think I got him 6th on my list. 7th, right behind Kobe. So I think if he wins 2 more, I would move him ahead of Kobe, to be honest with you. But this moved him a lot closer to Kobe. There's just on my list, in my personal opinion.
So not even in the top 5 all time.
He's 7th, Dan.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to ask the question because I was surprised that he's not even in your top 5 all time.
I got him number 7 behind Kobe Bryant. When he wins this year, it'll move him a lot closer. I mean, Dan, he is playing with Anthony Davis.
Most great players played with great players.
Yes, you are correct. But the difference is I've always believed that LeBron manufactured when he went to Miami and got Dwayne and Chris. And then when he went to the Lakers, once Anthony Davis signed with Clutch Sports, you knew it was just a matter of time before he came to the Lakers. So listen, like I say, I'm never going to say anything bad about LeBron, but you do have to factor in he does manufacture his teams where they become really good quickly.
Yeah, but we've seen that with great players.
Like who? Like who?
That have manufactured their teams?
Like who?
Well, Kevin Durant did.
That's why he's not on my list.
But Steph Curry got credit for a title, and Kevin Durant came there. So nobody said, boy, you can't give Steph that one title.
Well, Steph won one before KD came.
That's true, but that doesn't mean we're not going to take away that title. And that's a manufactured lineup.
No, but I'm not going to move him up on the list because those two with KD are manufactured. Let me tell you something. As much as I like KD, I haven't moved him up because his was manufactured also.
But you look at the Boston Celtics with Bill Russell. None of those guys left the team. Like, nobody had free agency. You couldn't leave, so you had a lineup of, what do they have, 8 Hall of Famers and a Hall of Fame coach and Bill Russell. You're not factoring that in. These guys couldn't leave.
Yeah, but none of those other guys on my list. Only Bill Russell's on my list.
Yeah, but these are all Hall of Famers. Bill Russell played with 8 or 7 Hall of Famers in that lineup.
Yeah, and I'm saying, but I don't count those other guys. They're bus riders, Dan. They're not bus drivers. The only person on that team that I'm putting on my list is Bill Russell. Those other guys, they're bus riders. They're not bus drivers. Listen, when I'm talking about my Mount Rushmore,
all right,
and LeBron's on that, you have to be a bus driver. You can't be a bus rider. Kevin Durant is still a bus rider until he wins one in Brooklyn. And let me tell you something. I have no idea what the hell going on in Brooklyn.
I was going to bring that up to you. When Kyrie says we don't really have a head coach, some nights it'll be me, sometimes it'll be KD, and sometimes it'll be Steve Nash. Boy, what could go wrong?
Dan, first of all, he did not say Steve Nash. He said some nights it'll be me, some nights it'll be KD, some nights. Hey, he went to the assistant coach. He said, Dan, that was one of the craziest things I've ever heard an NBA player say. I have no idea. I mean, that was flat out crazy.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think it's going to be fascinating watching those guys, especially in New York. And I don't think
is it going to be a good fascinating or a bad fascinating, though?
I think it's going to be a bad fascination.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of those guys, they're lucky they don't play for the Knicks, but I think because they're so high profile and all the stuff that Kyrie has said the last couple of years, I think they're going to get the same media attention that the Knicks get. And I think it's going to be fascinating, and I can't wait to watch.
How you doing on NFL games?
It's been very difficult to bet, to be honest with you, Dan, because they've taken away the home field. I tell people, home field, first of all, home court, home field always means something in sports, but I think it means a lot more in college football and pro football. So I have had a tough time trying to figure out, especially with no preseason games. So I think we're still in the preseason, but I'm having a difficult time betting on games because there's no home field advantage anymore.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
Army versus the Citadel. Take Army first half cover.
Are you crazy?
Yes.
Listen, I'm not betting on Army against Citadel. Please stop.
Wait, do you want to make money or why do you bet?
I bet to make money.
Okay, and you haven't made money.
Actually, I am. I didn't bet. I did not bet the first 2 weeks because I wanted to see some games. Right now, I think I'm 6-2 for the season.
All right.
I did not bet until the week 3, so I'm 6-2. So I'm up 4 games.
Yeah, but every Super Bowl, I always say, just give me your money, and then I'll hold on to it, and then you won't lose it.
Well, what was the Super Bowl last year?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
I won last year. The only time I've lost in the last 3 or 4 years was those Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons what they've done in the Super Bowl
Yeah.
and what they did against the Cowboys are two of the biggest choke jobs in the history of civilization.
What would you have won if the Falcons won the Super Bowl?
$100,000. I bet $100,000 on them. And listen, let me tell you something. I was drunk at halftime. I was doing shots. Hey, I was up 28-3. I was feeling it. And then one of my friends, Roy Green, says, "Yo, man, the game's not over yet." I said, "Dude, we're up 28-3." and then he says, "No, man, the Falcons are playing not to lose. They're trying to walk the ball up and down the court to let the shot clock go down."
Oh,
and he was 100% correct.
And as soon as Brady got the ball for the last time,
you knew it was over.
I know.
You knew it was over.
Damn.
And when they had the ball, and on the first play, they got sacked, and New England called the timeout. All they had to do was run the ball 3 times.
I know.
Make New England use up their 3 timeout, kick a field goal, the game is over. I mean, Dan, that was so heartbreaking. That was heartbreaking.
Well, at least did you sober up in the second half?
Well, no, I just got drunker. Listen, that's one thing about gambling. You drink when you're going to win, but you drink more when you're going to lose.
Good to talk to you. Glad you're safe. Tell the boys TNT we said hello, and thanks for joining us.
All right, man. Hey, keep up the great work. I am officially on vacation now, so I'm heading to the desert to play golf for the next whenever they start again. Come on out and visit me. Do the show from my house. I told you.
We want to. We'd have to have some safety protocols to get to the compound, but we'd love to do that.
All right, brother.
I mean
Be safe.
Thank you, buddy. That's Charles Barkley, a Hall of Famer.